So I'm going to demonstrate some of these, and they really utilize some of the features of the multi-poly. So the first one I'm going to look at is this sort of Tangerine Dream style sequence one. So you've got that sort of analog synth coming in with the sequence. Then we've got a digital sort of thing kicks in. And then a synth. With that sort of digital sound that you can trigger as well. So this is made up of multiple layers. All these layers are available in the pack as well. So you can hear we've got the SEM strings, we've got the module sequence, the digital sort of one, and the bass sequence part as well. And then we've got that bass that sort of filters in and out as well, utilizing the 4 layers on it. This is another one that utilizes 4 oscillators, but only with a single layer, so you can use this with other layers. And this really utilizes those double saws that you can hear, the detuned saws, which is one of my favorite parts of the multi-poly architecture. This 85 split is kind of using a bass sort of sequence that a bit like Sussudio. You can see I've used the sequencer to get that, and sort of modifying the timings of it to give us that slight variation. And then I use on the other hand, the right hand, is a brass sound, which is using detuned sawtooths to get that, and the SEM filters as well to go for the Oberheim type thing. But you could use it for jump or any of those sort of 80s big brass sounds. There's a related one, is the more 80s one, which I've also added a drum layer in, using the motion sequencer as well, so using a pulse width and a bit of noise. And we've got like a bright lead sound. And here's another dual layer one. This one is using a deep bass and a nice string sound. This I modelled on the Prophet 5. And the bass is sort of got a legato triggering in it. And this is a filter sweep. Then the mod control brings in the high pass. So using parallel filters on this with the high pass and a low pass filter. So that mod control introduces that high pass. So that top end fizz. I was looking at Prophet 5s, so I had to do the Prophet 5 pad from In the Air Tonight. So that is using a sawtooth and the Prophet 5 low pass filters just to bring that sort of in as well. And a bit of delay on the stereo as well, just to try to replicate what was on the original. This one is called Light Shapes because it uses the shapes with a Waveshaper. It actually sounds very much like a sound I could get out of an Oct 6 or a DX7 type. And that's using that Waveshaper, which is not something that I'm that familiar with Waveshaper, but I do like it. And then I've also sequenced that as well. So complete with the kick in there as well, using the mod controls as a way to select those. We've got Minimoog bass, and a deep Minimoog bass. Because the Multipoly has got the Moog filters in there, they're called Mini. So I'm just using that one on there. I wanted to create a Monopoly sound, so I fired up the Monopoly from the Korg collection and recreated 1979 sound. Which is a nice sort of square lead sound. Okay, so this is actually part 2 of the video now, because I didn't capture it on the screen when I did the second part of that video before, so this is another day now, and this is the Monopoly ARP. So it's a nice arpeggiator sound. The one restriction that actually I'm not so keen on this is the arpeggiator is global, so that arpeggiator affects all 4 layers. So you could have a pluck sound on layer 1, a string on layer 2, and a bass on layer 3, and so on. As soon as you turn the arpeggiator on, it arpeggiates all of it, which I understand perhaps why they did it, because it's like the Monopoly. In fact, the Monopoly is all 4 but I think it would give you a nice flexibility if you could turn on or off the arpeggiator at the layer level. So I don't necessarily need 4 arpeggiators, although that would be nice, because I do use that trick on the Mod Wave to use different arpeggiator at different timings on the 2 layers. What I'll just be able to do is just like enable per layers option as well. So we've got now 2 movie split and movie split 2. So the first one is using that low bass technique with a nice sort of arpeggiator on the top, and this is movie split 2. So you've got that string sound, the sequence, and the bass. And don't forget, all these layers are included in the set as well. And this one is called PPG Release because it's using PPG type waveforms, actually the built-in wave tables, but you've got that release effect. It kind of reminded me of a PPG sort of Tangerine Dream type style. Then we've got a section of Prophet 5 emulations. So Prophet 5 emulations are kind of built into the Multipoly. The envelopes, the filters, the amplifier, they've all got a Prophet 5 style in them, called Pro on there. So I created a set of Prophet 5 type sounds, and this is the 3-octave string. And then we've got one called Controller Sync. So you can use the Chaos Pad to control it, and Mod Pro Sync. So this one uses the mod processor to put a bit of lag on the input value of the key number, and then I'm affecting the tuning of oscillator 2 based on that lag. So without the lag, they would be playing the exact same note as you go up the keyboard, and you wouldn't get any sync sound because they would be in tune. But the lag, it adds that kind of delay to it, so you get a bit of syncing. So it depends on where you play the key, you get different effects. So that was a nice way to introduce sort of a bit of randomness to the syncing on there. Then we've just got a traditional Prophet 5 type sync sound. And Prophet 5 vintage strings. Thing to note as well on these is I have left on the maximum notes as 5, so you have got 5 note polyphony. Which gives it that, you can hear the notes cutting off. If I left it dynamic, you get a slightly different feel. So that gives you that sort of Prophet 5 emulation. You can change that if the 5 notes is not enough for you. Prophet 10, because I'm using two Prophet 5s to get this effect. And the Prophet 5 or Prophet 10 bell. Four oscillators there, so I got Prophet 10 using the 4, and yeah, it's a nice sort of bell sound. We've got a driven hollow lead. And the trick this one was kind of overloading the input of the amp. So you can kind of hear that. Rotating oscillators. So this is using a single layer, and then using the motion sequencer, it actually plays each oscillator separately. So that's the 4. And so the Korg Multi is inspired by the Monopoly, Korg say, and the Monopoly is a really unique instrument. It's had a single filter and amp, but 4 oscillators, like a mono synth, but you could have those 4 oscillators play in a polyphonic mode, so it still goes through the same filter and everything, but you could play a chord. Another way you can do it is you can have it cycle through the oscillators as you play them. So using the motion sequencer here, that's exactly what I've done. So as you play a chord, you can hear it's playing the different waveforms on there. So here you can, if I trigger it, you can hear it's playing the different oscillators each time. So when you play, so actually that's a more true representation of the multi-oscillator effect than the layer rotate that the multipoly has. So the multipoly layer rotate is much more advanced because it's going through those 4 layers with has 4 oscillators. So this is a bit more old school, I guess. And we've got the same thing but with a pad. This is SEM sequence space. There you can see the sequence, and you can hear I'm playing about with the filters and the oscillator modulations, and some SEM strings. Sounds like a high pass filter, but it's not. Simple rotation arpeggiator. So the idea of this is what I mentioned earlier on. This one though, instead of it being going through the 4 oscillators, it goes through the 4 layers. this is a pretty much unique feature that I know through the Multipoly. So each one of those arpeggiators is playing a different layer. You can see that through there. It gives you a nice effect, and it's open to a lot of ideas for that one. You've got slow brass. And that's based on the Oberheim model, so using the stem filters, so SEM filters, so that's what I'm copying there. Sussudio Brass. But it's actually probably pretty adaptable. It's a pretty good 80s. Pretty adaptable 80s brass sound on there. So this sound, I think, reminded me of the Take On Me. That kind of thing. I can't remember the exact notes for it, but it's a nice bright lead sound. And then we've got a resonant sound that's velocity controlled. So low velocities, it just fades in. Let's show you the envelope. There you can see the filter envelope. So you play it fast, you get sharp type. So the idea of how you can control the filters with other parameters like velocity. In this case, the envelope, the filter envelope. And then the final one is a Waveshaper mono lead. I've just started playing with these Waveshaper oscillators, which are different from the traditional sort of sawtooth square wave type ones that you would get, and you can do this wave shaping. You get some interesting wave shapes, and you've got movement on them as well. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with those wave shapers, and just started to scratch the surface of that. So I will definitely be doing some more sounds with that. You can create filter type sounds without using filters, and then apply filters. So you've got a lot of interesting options there. So there you go. So there's my first set of sounds for the Multipoly. You've got there the 35 performances, and total we've got 74 performances and programs. Use it in your own performances, patches, whatever you want to do with them.